Tonight on Business Live, new Bank of Ghana data puts the country's international reserves at $7.6 billion ending June this year. Meanwhile, Parliament Finance Committee has described the earlier report as an error and unfortunate oversight.
We reported that the international reserves of the Bank of Ghana had declined from $9 billion to $3 billion. Mr. Speaker, this was an error. It was an unfortunate oversight.
Ahead, we'll engage an economist on what this means to government data integrity. Also, President Akufo-Addo opens Office of Registrar of Companies with the charge to be a partner in fighting corruption.
Directing access to information contained in the register. The Office of the Registrar of Companies will become a variable partner of government in the effort to root out corruption.
And the first clinic of the 2022 edition of the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair has started at the Achimota Mall. We'll bring you details on today's event.
We have an enhanced package for our customers. Anything housing, from building, from taking a mortgage, from buying building materials on credit.
Our 3 and 4 bedroom also have an extra room for a boys' quartet.
Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Ayitey. We begin with commodities. Tonight, Ghana's gross international reserves declined to $7.6 billion ending June this year. That's from $8.1 billion in May this year as well. This is based on Bank of Ghana documents seen by Joy Business, which should cover 3.4 months of import cover for the country. It comes after the Finance Committee report on the $750 million loan between Ghana and Afreximbank reported that the reserves had declined from $9 billion to $3 billion. The Finance Committee has described the earlier report as an error and an unfortunate oversight. It, however, maintains that the net reserves had dropped from a little over $6 billion to $3.5 billion. Now, the statement signed by the chairman of the Finance Committee, Ayitey, asked the Speaker of Parliament for the necessary corrections to be made to the records. We'll hear from economist Professor Lord Mensa on this matter, but first, let's listen to Ayitey, who spoke on the floor of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, on that day, I laid a report on behalf of the Finance Committee before this House on the loan facility agreement between the government of Ghana and the African Export-Import Bank for a maximum of $750 million to finance capital and growth-related expenditures in the 2022 budget statement. In that report, Mr. Speaker, we reported that the international reserves of the Bank of Ghana had declined from $9 billion to $3 billion. Mr. Speaker, this was an error. It was an unfortunate oversight. According to the Bank of Ghana, the gross international reserves of the country was $9.7 billion at the close of December 2021. This declined to $7.68 billion at the close of June 2022. In terms of net international reserves, the country closed December 2021 with $6.08 billion. This position declined to $3.58 billion at the close of June 2022. Mr. Speaker, the error is regretted, and I request the clerk at table to ensure that all the records are accordingly corrected. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And joining us with his perspective is economist Professor Lord Mensa. We're grateful that he could join us. What do you make of the development following the correction, the statement that corrected the issue by the Finance Committee? An error, an unfortunate oversight. What's your perspective on this?
I think for me, where I sit, I look at it as how serious we are when it comes to the economic management of this country. I'm wondering why, 7.68 billion would turn up to be 3 billion. It wasn't even 6.8 billion, which sometimes will be closer to the 7.68 billion, or possibly 8.6 billion, but then rather, 7 billion. So I'm wondering where the committee chairman at Parliament got his information from before he put it on the table. We need to understand that Parliament represents the people. In as much as they're sitting in the chamber, that is the reflection of the masses. And so effectively, if we are making mistakes and then we gloss over it, that it should be corrected, we should understand that the 3 billion that was put on the table gave us the signal that the country is in a dire need of money. And as a result of that, if the 750 million is not approved, we may be in trouble. But then now it turns out to be 7.58, which is about 3.4 months import cover. Then how depressed was the system that will require 750 billion. So I think in as much as the 3 billion, it's a logical thing that I'm trying to put across, if 3 billion will allow you to go and borrow 750, then if you are correcting it, then possibly we may borrow less. So if they are revising, the 700, the 3 billion to 7.68 billion to be our international reserve, then possibly we may need less to borrow. So the amount that we're going to borrow should also be revised. So for me, the information and the way it was put out there, I'm not happy. And if you look at, it tells you the seriousness that the economic management team of this country put on, when it comes to the affairs of this country. So I would say that, yes, if it's 7.68 billion, then we are not that under pressure. We can borrow 750 million as we speak. It could be less. So that should be also revised. So I'm expecting that whilst he was, tabling across that they should revise the 3 billion to 7.68 billion, they should have also revised the 750 million that we were going to borrow. And so that it will come down, maybe 300 million or something. But they didn't do that. And I'm wondering, but the 3 billion that was put across there, it was giving us a signal that our import cover is even less than 2 months. Indeed. And as a result of that, if we don't, do something about it, both majority and minority should come together. But now it turns out to be 7.68 billion. That means you don't need 750 million that you were going to borrow. So probably they may have to, call for a revision of the amount we're going to borrow from the Afro-Exim Bank.
And of course, it begs the question of whether or not this raises serious data integrity issues to us as a country from the perspective of prospective investors?
It does. I've been talking about the uncertainty and the kind of information we put out there. So this tells you that the communication between the finance ministry, the parliament, the presidency, and then the Bank of Ghana is quite a problem. Because if you are going to put something, to negotiate for the other side to accept, a loan that you're going for, you don't come out with the wrong figure. And it's not even close. You look at 3 billion and 7.68 billion. It's a huge difference. And so for me, I think it has to do with data problem. And you see, if you have data that is uncertain, it turns out to be building up into trust issues. And the banks that are even lending to you will not trust you. By the end, you pay more interest on the loans that you are going for. So we need to be careful. And the communication between those institutions who deals with our finances should be, smooth and clear, so that when they come out, they may not come out with different data sets as we speak now.
You talk about the banks who having to reconsider when it comes to the, issuing out of facilities. But what about investor confidence as well? Because we do know that whatever happened on the floor of Parliament or in the finance ministry has some rippling effect on our image out there. So paint us that picture of what this could mean for investor confidence, even as we're speaking when the country is even having issues raising funds from Eurobonds.
It's obviously, every investor wants a certain environment, an environment where information is very certain. But when you put data is information, when you have a 3 billion and you are saying that you present the 3 billion and you go back and revise to 7.68 billion, that puts some doubt on you and the kind of system you are running. And so effectively, the investor confidence will go down. But every investor would like to come to an environment where, information is clean and clear. And at the end of the day, you'll be sound when it comes to where he's putting his money. But if you put up uncertain information, especially when you have a hung parliament where both minority and majority, are well balanced, and by so doing can affect decision, and you put up such information, the confidence will definitely go down. And if I were to be investor, I would have waited for some time for things to settle, for me to be sure the kind of information that is put out there before I can bring my money to such environment.
Indeed, and we'll see how this pans out, especially when the finance minister is prepping to present the media budget. We're grateful, Professor Lord Mensa, for your analysis on this unfortunate situation, which has been duly described by the head of the Finance Committee in Parliament. Well, President Akufo-Addo has launched the new office of the Registrar of Companies to work independently from the existing Registrar General's Department. This new office is born out of the passage of the New Companies Act 2019, which was passed by the previous Parliament. Speaking at the launch of the office, the President expressed confidence that the new office will support the fight against corruption in the country, as well as help government in the improvement of the ease of doing business. We have more in this report.
Office will be solely responsible for business registration and activities related to the business operations, while the already existing Registrar General's Department takes care of marriages, industrial property rights, public trusts, and among others. This is part of efforts to improve efficiency within the business community. President Akufo-Addo, in a speech, assured of government support to make the office functional.
Having regard to the ability of the Registrar of Companies to mobilize substantial internally generated funds, the Office of Registrar of Companies is required by Section 352 of Act 992 to be financially autonomous of government. By virtue of a variety of measures introduced by Act 992 to ensure the timely provision of information to be entered into the company's register, including processes to verify information provided by companies to the Registrar of Companies, and provisions directing access to information contained in the register, the Office of the Registrar of Companies will become a veritable partner of government in the effort to root out corruption.
First appointed registrar of the office, Jemima Owari, said efficiency will be enhanced with this new office since it will be making use of digitalization in its operations.
843,847 businesses have been registered through walk-in and online services. It's therefore envisaged that with the improvement of the current system, service delivery will be greatly enhanced. This completely new software I'm talking about will be built on the business re-engineering report put together by the IFC and our staff through funding from SECO. It's expected that this new software should be deployed next year, and it will have new and improved features that will make online registration more user-friendly, seamless, and easily accessible, which will be an improvement on the current one.
The Office of the Registrar of Companies is expected to go fully digital in the next few years as part of the task to ensure smooth business registration and regulation.
To come in the bulletin, the first clinic of this year's edition of the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair has begun at the Achimota Mall. We'll bring you details from the ground. Do stay with us.
We have an enhanced package for our customers. Anything housing, from building, from taking a mortgage, from buying building materials on credit.
Our 3 and 4 bedroom also have an extra room for a boys' quartet.
Now, the first clinic of this year's edition of the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair is ongoing at the Achimota Mall here in Accra. The fair is to give various stakeholders, including homeowners, exhibitors and the public, an opportunity to explore the real estate market. My colleague James Ashen is there and has filed this report.
As the first clinic of the two clinics we'll be having this year, so far as the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair is concerned. It's been powered by the Plant City Extension Project. So far we've seen a lot of patrons in the air with some of the stakeholders as well as that of the exhibitors here. But let's try to get let's engage reps from Ecobank Ghana to know how it's been going so far.
We've had people initially coming through. You can see our setup. We are ready. Anybody who is interested, come over. And this year, as I said in the morning, we have an enhanced package for our customers. Anything housing, from building, from taking a mortgage, from buying building materials on credit, from finishing the house on credit. We have our partners. For instance, we have our partners TCL here. You can actually pick an item, pick a TV, pick an AC, and then we'll spread it over 12 months for you.
Right, so as I said earlier, this is your one-stop shop. So far as housing is concerned, if you need anything housing, this is where you need to be as we speak now. But let's get some other reactions from other stakeholders so far as this year's Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair is concerned. So we're currently here at the Plant City Extension Project, Cities and Habitat. I would want you to tell me this year, this is the 13th edition. What is the Plant Cities Extension Project bringing new this time?
Okay, so thank you so much. My name is Bertha, and this year what we are looking at is we are giving a waiver to all those who are going to register within the clinics and the main fair. Every year we review our prices. So this year the dollar is pegged at 8. So this year we are giving a waiver for the next 3 years to all those who are going to register. And then again this year we are looking at delivering 50 homes to those who have already paid their 20%.
Yeah, so far the turnout has been good, but we are hoping that we receive a lot more people. And we came with our roofing products, as you can see over here. We have our modern strip lock, or the MSL, and then we have the self lock.
Is DBS this time coming with any discounts whatsoever?
Yes, we also have a 10%. We also have a 10% discount for the roofing products, and that's valid for 2 months. So once you come here, once you visit us, we give you a card, and then when you are coming to make payments, you just come along with the card.
And we have more on this at Prime Business. Do stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, aside from that, away from that, Education Minister has sworn in 11-member governing board of the Chartered Institute of Human Resources, charging them to complement the government's quest to place workers first and weed out fraudsters duping desperate job seekers. There's more in this report.
As the high cost of living deepens the economic woes of Ghanaian workers, human resource professionals are being encouraged to foster a productive and efficient workplace which rewards skills and results. Swearing in the newly elected governing council members of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Education Minister Dr. Ayitey made the case for HR professionals to complement government efforts to prioritize the well-being of workers amid the current economic climate.
I believe that the better days of Ghana is ahead of us and not behind us. But if we're going to make it come to pass, it depends on you to a large extent. Depends on you. There are times when we think money is everything. Yes, money is important. But the way you handle your employees to a large extent, they also determine whether you have increased productivity or you don't. If you take interest in your employees and they know you care, sometimes they will do more for you with less. And therefore, when we turn to you to train our people, train the human resource managers as to how they bring about productivity.
Meanwhile, President of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Dr. Edward Kwapon, has charged council members to work at sanitizing the HR sector he claims has been inundated with charlatans and fraudsters.
As you drive around town, you see a number of signages advertising programs that lead to the award of professional HR certificates. And yet we are the only and sole institute clothed with a mandate to regulate the practice of HR in this country. So we are being shortchanged. And we assure you that when these two hurdles have been cleared, you will do the needful and sanitize the HR space in Ghana.
The swearing-in ceremony had 11 council members inducted into the governing board of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Managers, including President of the Institute, Dr. Edward Kwapon. Other members represented the Ghana Employers Association as well as the Ministry of Education.
That'll be it for Business Live with me, Charles Ayitey. Please join us on myjoyonline.com for more stories in Ghana and around the world. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of our programs. Many thanks for watching.